Just a little message to anyone out there who may be doubting the Cyclones. We're here, and we are here to stay. Today on Locked On Cyclones.
You are Locked On Cyclones, your daily podcast on the Iowa State Cyclones, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Cyclones, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making this your first listen of every day. And if you do listen every single day, shout out to you. Hey, a little one of these. Round of applause, if you will. We appreciate it more than you know. We got a lot going on in the Cyclone sphere of things today we have to cover. First off, Coach TJ Otzelberger extended. Big news for the Cyclones. And then the reason I'm taping this so late, Iowa State faced UCONN just tonight. This is Tuesday night. It'll go obviously up Wednesday. You guys are listening to this on a Wednesday. And that's a big game. We got a lot to talk about in that one. Certainly fun to watch, I guess I'll put it that way. But what does this mean for the Cyclones and what exactly happened in that game? That will be covered today. Today's episode is brought to you by the college football playoffs. The college football playoffs are here, and you don't want to miss a moment of the action. The college football playoff presented by Allstate begins with 4 first-round games December 20th and 21st on ESPN, ABC, TNT, and Max. Let's just go ahead and dive right on into things here. First things first, TJ Otzelberger is extended. Okay, what does this mean? This means that the Cyclones are officially here to stay on as far as, national coverage of sports. Cyclones aren't going anywhere, okay? We talked about this, I think it was just last week. Matt Campbell extended through 2032. A lot of T's in there. Who else was extended through 2032? TJ Otzelberger, okay? Great play by Jamie Pollard, getting these, obviously both of them, but to dive in specifically on Otzelberger here, this guy has done nothing but win for the Cyclones, realistically. Came in after the team went 2-22. Not a great, look for the Cyclones. That's a bad record. I'm just going to leave it how it is, okay? 22-2, pretty good. I would say that's a good year. 2-22, however, not great. Okay, just not a good ratio there. So they bring in TJ Otzelberger out of UNLV. I remember when he came in. I remember everyone's talking about how excited they are. TJ's going to turn this program around. And I'm not saying I was, skeptical, but I was certainly like, well, he just went 2-22. I don't know how long this is going to take. And the way sports goes, I wonder how much time they'll give him to turn it around. Well, TJ didn't need any time. Okay, first season with the Cyclones takes them to the Sweet 16. Okay. Then second season makes it back to the tournament. Did lose in the first round, but makes it back to the tournament. Then last year, Big 12 champions, Sweet 16 appearance. This guy does nothing but win for the Cyclones. I think he reached 70 wins, like second fastest, in Iowa State history. I've got a few statistics here, but I don't want to get too deep into them. 29-25 in Big 12 play, 9-1 this season. He's 79-36 all time with Iowa State. I guess I don't know if that's as a head coach or because I know he coached for us before. I'm not diving into these numbers. Like I said, I don't want to get too deep on the numbers here as much as I just really want to talk about how much this means for the, I keep trying to avoid the word aura, but I think it's a great word here. What does this mean for Cyclone athletics as a whole? Well, we're going to stay relevant. Okay. Matt Campbell is always going to make the best out of the team that lays in front of him in football. And then that leads perfectly into basketball where TJ Otzelberger, we're going to be cutting down nets in April come either, well, I think this year, but then maybe next year and the year after that and the year after that and the year after that and the year after that. Okay. That's what this guy does. He wins. He brings in great talent. He knows which talent we need to bring in. Case in point, Joshua Jefferson. We've talked about that ad nauseum at this point. One of the best additions, in my opinion, in Cyclone history, and is going to be a key factor in this team this season. But 9-1 on the year already. And then they were like, okay, we've seen enough. This is the 4th season. We've got 3 tournament appearances, a Big 12 championship, 2 Sweet 16 appearances. I think he's like the 51st head coach in NCAA coaching history to go to Sweet 16 2 out of the first 3 years of the program. I might have butchered that stat, but I'm pretty sure that's right on, actually. They were like, yeah, we need to sign this guy. Bang. I don't have any contract details for you. I don't know if that's the way Iowa State does things, specifically, but there were no numbers released. They'll be, I guess, released at a later date, but who cares? Okay, who cares? Give him every penny we have at this point. Cyclone basketball is, in my opinion, a key to college basketball as a whole. College basketball is better when Cyclones are, playing at their best, when Hilton Magic is turning heads. Okay. And TJ Otzelberger has proven that he is that guy. He can make this team just go to levels that have not yet been reached. And we've talked about that Sweet 16 ceiling that seems to kind of plague Iowa State. I was looking back through some of the records through the years. We reached an Elite Eight in it was in the 2000s. I can't remember the exact year off the top of my head. You can let me know in the comments below because I know you guys, I know you know, but we have kind of been stuck. Okay, let's just keep it how it is. This team this year, I think, absolutely has the ability to break through that, make a Final Four, win it all. I think that's very much in the realm of possibility, which is exciting. But who coaches that team? TJ Otz. Okay, that's why coming up, in the next couple of weeks, I didn't do it this week because we only play one game this week on Sunday. So TJ Watts up this week wouldn't have made a whole lot of sense. But TJ Watts up is probably going to make a regular appearance here on Mondays because it's a nod. It's an what do they call that? Like an ode, an omen? I don't know what the word is. Not really good with those, unfortunately. But like it is a nod to like how good this guy is. And then Iowa State and Jamie Pollard recognize it. And they're like, hey, we should probably bring him back. I've got a quote here from Jamie Pollard. It says, quote, "The complete reimagining of our program under Coach Otzelberger's leadership is a testament to his vision and the plan that he and his staff has successfully implemented." Keyword there, successfully. I just got done with a conversation with a buddy of mine about some concepts that they sound good. Okay, they do. They sound good. But guess what? Neither of us are in a position to implement them, but then to implement them successfully. Okay, maybe the concept is that Tamin Lipsey shoots the three every time he goes up the court. Is that a successful concept in nature? Probably not. Okay, realistically, it's a very one-dimensional offense. If that's the only thing you're going to do, pretty easy for a defense to stop. But if it were somehow successfully implemented, then it would be a success. Wow, groundbreaking news here. But the real what I'm trying to say here is that these concepts, these theories can come out of thin air, right? They come all the time. Anyone can say anything, but to implement them and to implement them successfully is a challenge. And TJ Otzelberger has done that correctly. And not only do I like where he's been with the team, but I also like where he is going. Okay, I like the way he approaches the team, and just handles everything around the media, the passion he coaches with, the size of t-shirt he wears. This guy is basically Cyclone basketball in a nutshell. Sometimes there are coaches out there, there are hires that it's like, okay, he's a really good coach, but does he match the like persona of this team, of this fan base, of the home crowd, if you will? Sometimes the answer is no. But I think TJ Otzelberger is a perfect example of someone who's a very successful coach, very good coach. Bang, check off box number one. Box number two, does he match the energy of the home crowd or of the fan base as a whole? Check. Okay. I think he gets it. I think he 100% is with it. He's tied in. I think the right hire. I think extending him was a very, very, very smart move. And for it to pair with Matt Campbell, it just gives so much more to the, persona of the Cyclones. We've got two top head guys right now. And what Matt Campbell has done I'm not breaking that down today, but it's been unbelievable. And what TJ's done in such a short time, I can't wait to see what he does until 2032. And then hopefully for the rest of eternity, hopefully we cut down the nets like 15 times in the next 16 years. I think that'd be great. Don't you? I mean, do you like championships? I think TJ is the best way to go about that. If you don't agree, I'd like to hear why. My Twitter is @NickMarv, and the comment section is obviously right down below. So either one, hit me up if you don't think so, because I'd love to hear it. I really think most people are on board with this hire, and honestly, couldn't be more excited myself. That being said, we talked a lot about winning right there. Unfortunately, the Cyclones did not win against UCONN. The Cyclone women's basketball team did not win against UCONN tonight. We'll break that down in great detail right after this. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Obviously, the Cyclones playing some of their best basketball in the history of the program. I had to take a look at their odds to win the Big 12 championship. And plus 200, yeah, I think I'll take that. Okay. That's a pretty good number. I don't mind that at all. FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Today's episode is also brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. You can make your holidays bigger and brighter with PrizePicks, the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. Join now because this holiday season, PrizePicks is giving away 2 free picks in December, and they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas. Looking at the upcoming slate of NFL here, I like some players to go above their projected total, maybe Jared Goff. I also, Saquon Barkley projected over on touchdowns, more touchdowns. I like that as well. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. Run your game. You're here with Locked On Cyclones, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And guess what? There was a game that was played just today, just minutes ago, in which the Cyclones unfortunately fell to the University of Connecticut Huskies. Okay. I know women's basketball doesn't quite get the same recognition that men's basketball does. Actually, I don't know the numbers. Maybe that's not a fact. Maybe that's just my perception of it. Okay. And if that is the case, and I'm incorrect, I apologize. What I'm trying to say here is if you didn't watch this game, maybe go back and watch the highlights. This first quarter was, is there a word strong enough to describe this? Unbelievable is, the first word that comes to mind. It was unreal. It was simply unfathomable the way that the UCONN, University of Connecticut Huskies came out ready to roll against Iowa State. Iowa State 9-3 going into this game. Not a bad team by any means. I don't think so. Do you? I don't think so. They did not look good in this game, and partially due to the fact that the UConn women simply could not miss. They were not shooting on a regulation-sized rim. There's simply no way. I refuse to believe it. They had to have been shooting into the ocean. Why? Why, you may ask? Ashlyn Shade is a nice lady that plays for the University of Connecticut. She surpassed her season high with 6 minutes left in the first quarter, 6:39 into the game. Insane. She started the game 6 for 6 from 3. 6 for 6. She had the first 14 points for the Huskies. Not to mention, Paige Buckets also went 3 for 3 at some point when Ashlyn was 6 for 6 in there, and they were a combined 9 or 8 for 8, and they finished the first quarter 10 for 11 from deep, while Iowa State was 0 for 6. I remember one game in particular. I've mentioned I played one season of basketball at a high or higher level, 7th grade year. We faced a team, and we were getting lit up, and our head coach was like, hey, this is a good team. It's going to be hard to beat a team when they shoot 60, 65%. That's just how this game works. Remember it very vividly because that felt like a big key moment where it's like sometimes, the other team's just going to make buckets, okay? And you got to make your own. And if you're not making them, then they're going to kind of get ahead of you a little bit. That was this, dude. I don't think there was basically nothing the Cyclones could have done besides, obviously shoot at the same clip. But to go over 90% from 3-point range And then they made it quite a few inside as well, obviously. 10, that's only 30 points, and the final score was 10-36, or the final score of the first quarter, excuse me, was 10-36. So they had 3 buckets inside. I don't know if they had any free throws or not, because I was just so blown away by this unbelievable showing from, I mean, every time they shot it, it went in. They missed one time. I could not believe my eyes. I was like, is this highlights? Am I watching a highlight reel? The whole first quarter was a highlight reel. So I don't blame the Cyclones for the way that this game started. 10-36 in the first quarter. Looks horrible. It looks horrible. And yes, the Huskies had a few open looks, but overall, it didn't matter. I think the first 3 for Ashland Shade were open looks, but then 4 and 5 were contested. I think the 6th one was contested, and then her heat kind of carried on a little bit through that too. Paige Buckers. She was lights out as well. The ladies were simply unconscious in every way that they could be. They also had what's her name? Sarah Strong had 29 points on the inside for them. She shot 5 of 9 from 3. I couldn't believe it. I seriously couldn't believe it. So yes, the Cyclones look like they got absolutely throttled. Okay, what is that? 33 points. Not a great look. It's really not. But to consider that they were down 26 in the first, like down 26, you lose by 33. It's only, 7 points that they lost the rest of the game by. So when you look at it in that light, like, I don't actually hate it. Okay. Sometimes teams are going to catch fire. And they were mentioning on the broadcast that I think Connecticut went 3 for 13 or 3 for 16 in their loss to Notre Dame. Maybe if Iowa State catches UConn on a night where they shoot 3 for 13 or 3 for 16, they win this game. Okay, because Iowa State still, I mean, they played pretty okay. Audie Crooks had 22 points, 9 from Emily Ryan, 9 from Addie Brown, 6 assists from each of those ladies as well. They had 17 points in Harris off the bench. She was shooting pretty straightforward from 3 as well. 5 of 7. It was really the only bright spot we had from beyond the arc. And then 5 other points in a combined Reagan Wilson and Kelsey Jones. So I don't think that the Cyclones completely didn't show up, for lack of better words. But I do think that they could have obviously played better. Like, they could have shot better. Okay. I'm looking at 3-pointer for the team. We went 8 of 25. That's 32%. I mean, that's pretty good. UConn shot 58%. I can't expect us to shoot 58% from 3. That's an insane number. And to start the game at over 90% was just wild. Okay. But that being said, that's kind of a breakdown of the game. Because honestly, the first quarter was where this game was won and lost. The rest of the game was kind of close. It turned into a normal basketball game. Makes and misses, on both ends of the floor, a few transition points here, a free throw here and there. Pretty standard game. But that first quarter was literally a highlight reel from Connecticut. And there's just nothing you can really do about that. What does this loss mean for the Cyclones? We are not the Cyclones. That is not what I meant to say. I apologize sincerely. The Cyclones. Clones. The Cyclones. What does this loss mean for the Cyclones moving forward? Sitting at fourth to last. I need a glass of water. Fourth to last in the Big 12 right now. Is this kind of a marker game for the Cyclones? Is this kind of an indicator of where the team is at? Well, that will be covered right after this. It's that time of year. The college football playoff is back, and with the newly expanded 12-team format, it's guaranteed to be bigger and better than ever, bringing you all the hard-hitting and high-flying excitement that you love. TNT Sports coverage of the college football playoff begins December 21st, starting with the College Football Playoff Kickoff Show presented by AT&T at 11 a.m. Eastern. Leading into our first matchup, the Southern Methodist University Mustangs battling the Penn State Nittany Lions at noon. Then the Clemson Tigers look to upset the Texas Longhorns in a showdown at 4 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss a moment of the action. Watch the College Football Playoff presented by Allstate live on TNT, True TV, TBS, and Max. So the Cyclones lost to Connecticut. Okay. Let's call it how it is. The Cyclones did not score as many points as the UConn Huskies. Unfortunately, here at Locked On Cyclones, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, we got to break this down. What does this mean for the Cyclones? Let's stop talking about the Huskies and their highlight reel, because honestly, I didn't like it. Was cool to watch, but I don't want to talk about it anymore. I just don't. Okay. I don't think that's a fun thing to talk about. I want to talk about the Cyclones. Okay. Moving forward, I have a few notes on just kind of what I saw here. And a lot of my notes did come from the first quarter, because once it turned into a normal game, I thought the Cyclones looked good. I thought we were able to get the ball down to Audie Crooks on the post, on the blocks, much more consistently. Audie did shoot, 9 of 14 as the official box score is what I've got. It's pretty good. That's not bad at all. 22 points in 31 minutes, pretty valid. 22 points on 9 field goals. Like, that's a pretty good number. So I don't have any problem with the way we approached Audie Crooks, in the second, third, and fourth quarters. But really, a lot of my notes do come from the first quarter. And overall, I thought we got very rattled by this game. I thought that the Cyclones looked scared or confused, I guess, on the floor, and it resulted in a lot of standing around wanting I guess somebody to do something. It was kind of the way it looked, and that sounds horrible, but that's just the way it came across to me. A lot of everyone kind of standing on the perimeter, a little bit of ISO ball, kick it out. We got it in a few times to Crooks, but it wasn't anything crazy, and I didn't like that. And the biggest thing with that, if that's how Iowa State's going to play the game, that's how they're going to play the game. But no off-ball movement of any kind makes it hard for everybody. It really does. You have to be a superstar talent, in my opinion, to create shots like that. And it's a team game. There's 5 ladies on the floor at all times. So, and I guess 99.999% of the time, I've heard a few stories. But I just thought there was not enough ball movement, and it did get better, in the second, third, and fourth quarter. But I don't know if maybe it was a product of anytime Ashlyn Shea touched the ball and shot it, it was going in. Anytime Paige was able to make a little bit of space and shoot it, it was going in. And they expected the same thing to happen to them. I don't think that's a fair assumption to make. I'm not trying to make assumptions. I'm just saying that's the way it looked. It looked like they just were expecting kind of the same thing to happen to them instead of trying to play their own ball, was kind of how it came across to me. Trying to rally with 3-point shots that I didn't think were very great selection. I didn't love that. But the rest of the game is where I think the Cyclones kind of found some solace, I guess. They kind of found themselves. That is where I think the Cyclones can build off of. Okay, only losing the second, third, and fourth quarters by a combined 7 points is solid. We won the second quarter by 17 points, and then lose the third by 10, so you're up by 7, and then you lose the fourth by 4. I don't know if that math is right. That math doesn't seem to be mathing, but either way, I just realistically, this team is good. I wouldn't expect anything insane out of this team at this point from what I've seen. Struggled obviously against Iowa, unable to finish that game. And then this game, it just got ugly in the first quarter, but the rest of the game was okay. I'd like to see more out of Crooks down low. But the one thing that stood out to me in the second, third, and fourth quarter that was a little alarming was that the team looked pretty tired. Obviously Emily Ryan sat out a lot of the second quarter, getting into foul trouble pretty early. And that is what it is. And maybe that threw a rhythm off as well. But I personally perceived, take this as you will. Okay. I'm sitting at home in my chair watching the game with a snack. Okay. I'm not on the floor. Okay. I remember how hard basketball games are. I'm not trying to knock any of these players. It just looked like there was a little bit of tiredness, and you could see it in between inbound plays, like situations for the Cyclones. A lot of walking around, and I don't know. That's the way I took it. I think that's something that pretty easily fixed, is conditioning. And that's something that if I were the coach and I looked at that and I knew more behind the scenes stuff, that's something I would target first. Is we can't be getting tired in these games, because if Iowa State were able to go on a run, when we found that Sydney Harris had the 3 ball, we get a few back. All of a sudden, Crooks is cooking down low, let her crook type of deal. All of a sudden, boom, we're down 5. because we were able to stay in this game. I'm not going to say UConn cooled off by any means at the end of this game, but they weren't as hot as they were at the beginning. They didn't close the door, I guess. I mean, you're still down 33, but you get what I'm saying here. So that was the one thing I didn't love about this team, about this game, I guess, was they looked a little tired. But like I said, take it with a grain of salt, because I swear, if one person tells me, you're not out there on the floor, you don't know what they're going through. No, I don't. I'm telling you right now. That's just the way it looked, and it could have been a complete misconception on my part. 100%. 1,000,000%. Okay? I want to make that very clear. So let's not get too, honed in on that, because I don't think that's fair to the players. I think we should look at some of the things they did really well. Obviously, Sydney Harris going 5 for 7 from 3. Awesome. That's awesome. She had 5 of our 8 from downtown. Okay, I saw quite a few good passes into Crooks and then from Crooks out. I saw a lot of back and down that I guess post moves is whatever you'd call that I liked. Okay, I also saw some ball movement in that second, third, and fourth quarters. Off ball and then on ball kind of switches and rotations, swings, maybe some where you draw in the team, draw in a defender, and then you got an open look outside. I like that as well. I thought our defense cleaned up quite a bit in the second, third, and fourth quarters. I thought, our approach at the beginning of the game, I wanted to put UConn's getting a lot of open looks here. We got to be doing something wrong. I don't think it was that. I think it was literally that UConn's ball movement was so fast. There was just no way for us to keep up with the scheme we were running. We were running a 2-3 zone there. And I don't know how much things shifted, if it was a mentality shift, an actual coaching point that changed. But they looked better, and it also helped that UConn didn't literally shoot with, I would say lights out, but there were no lights in that stadium for a minute there. I cannot believe 10 for 11 from 3. Are you kidding me? Is that even a number? Is that even a real statistic? That's insane. And ISU shot 0 for 6 in that span. So yeah, the defense got a lot better. I thought we covered down low quite a bit better. Free throw shooting, solid on the night, 10 for 12. We love to see that. You're going to give us free points, we're going to take them. 83% from the line. That's a very bright spot. Outshot UConn. They shot 7 for 9. So 3 more points that were awarded, and also at a higher percentage. So we won that battle, which is nice. That is looking at this, kind of the only one. I thought our rebounding was solid. A total of 24 rebounds, 24 rebounds, 3 on offense. Not a whole lot of second chance points there, but that's kind of the way Iowa State runs this game. And so I'm not too surprised by that, or at least the way they ran that specific game. They didn't have a whole lot of crowded baskets. So it'd be either a kind of a shoot it, come short, you grab it yourself type deal. I'm not surprised by that number, but 21 defensive rebounds, that's obviously a good number. The Huskies had 26 on defense. So, I mean, a few more, but they also shot, Iowa State just didn't make as many. So there's going to be more rebounds for UConn to grab there. I'm sorry for the somber tone here. I am acknowledging it. I hear it. It's just hard to look at this. And I cannot believe that they shot that well. I really can't. But I have high hopes for the Cyclones. I'm not going to talk on the Big 12 final finish as a whole right now. We got plenty of episodes to get into that. Don't worry. Don't go anywhere. We'll do it. I think this team is better than 4th to last in the Big 12. I think this team is not a 4-loss team. It does, it looks bad when you look at it. You're like, oof, Iowa State women might have something on their hands here. I don't think that's exactly the case. I think this team is still very good. And I've talked to people on the inside, and they tell me the same. This team is really good. So they just need to click it. They just need to find a few pieces, get them put together, and we're going to be off to the races. And maybe if we face UConn in the championship or in the tournament, it'll go differently. I hope so. Big 12 play starts for these ladies next game. I think they start, maybe it's Kansas. I guess I can pull it up right here, but I'm not going to because that would take too long, and I'm not great with technology. That being said, go Cyclones, baby. Until next time, sayonara, Cyclones.